All right, it's August 13th, 2017. I'd like to point out something today that is kind of aggravating, that is constantly going on. It's harassment, it's sabotage, it's agent provocateurs coming in from the cartel that runs the City of Rockford. Now, I was cited here on this property maintenance inspection report for a handrail missing, a window in the bathroom that does not operate properly, or an exhaust fan needs to be installed, access to the breaker panel downstairs, smoke detectors installed. Now they're claiming that none of this stuff is done, and all detectors to be repaired or replaced. So the tenant that made this complaint was Consuela Amanda Garcia. She lived here for 9 months. She was nothing but trouble. She did so much damage to this place. Let me point out the damage. Now once again, let me show you what this entails here, the deficits according to the City of Rockford report. So there's no smoke detectors. Well, there is smoke detectors. Now they did take down one that was here, and there always was one here too. So for some reason I got cited for no smoke detectors when there was smoke detectors. Does work. This one was missing batteries, so replace the batteries. So anyway, the handrail was missing. Okay, the handrail was missing. Here's the handrail. Here's the handrail. Consuela Amanda Garcia knocked the handrail off the wall and damaged every single surface of this wall on the way up the stairs. So that's not accidental, that's intentional. So they did this damage, and some of this wasn't even damage, but they damaged this and called the building department on the other things that I was cited for, when there wasn't a problem. Again, this was the only thing that was a deficit, was the railing, that they literally knocked the brackets off the wall. Okay? So let's go back up here and I'll show you what else they did. Yeah, the other thing that was cited here was the window in the bathroom. So the window in the bathroom doesn't open the way a normal window does. It opens from the top, see? So there is ventilation. There always was ventilation. So why am I being cited? Well, I'm being cited because I'm being harassed. And I'm being harassed because there are people who control the City of Rockford who do it illicitly, and they commit a lot of illicit acts to people using the authority of the City of Rockford. Now, I'm not blaming the building inspectors. They're just doing their job. Somebody calls in a BS report, and I guess you just write it down. I don't think anybody must have come over here. Nobody must have been over here to actually inspect it. Otherwise, they would have seen that the only thing that was missing was that handrail. Oh, the other thing that was missing was they stole the globe off this light. So they stole the globe, knocked the handrail off, got cited for smoke alarms, which were already there, and cited for the window, which just operated a little bit differently than most of them. So, like I said, this is a harassment from people who are in control of the City of Rockford, and it started for me 40 years ago when the first property that I bought, I was lured into. The City of Rockford came in after I'd spent $20,000 on electrical and plumbing for improvements, and the building inspectors came in, passed the plumbing and electrical, and somebody called the health department and said that we were renting to people without bathrooms. So this started 20 years ago, where they held a hearing without me, and my attorney at the time was Tom Meyer, who was campaign manager to Mayor John McNamara, Box, and Scott. Tom Meyer's son is now campaign manager to current mayor Tom McNamara. I haven't seen anything that would suggest that things in Rockford are going to be run any differently. So anyway, this issue with the building department, this stuff has been going on for a couple of years, about 2.5 years. And during that time, people across this alley here, who's related, I believe, to Tim Hansen, who's the head of the Public Works, who was the head of the Public Works Department for the City of Rockford, and I was head of the Rock River Water Reclamation District. He's probably collecting 2 pensions, so it's not just me being scammed here, but you, the taxpayers, are probably being scammed too, if what I'm saying is correct, that he's getting 2 pensions. Well, this is part of the sabotage. According to what's happened around here, it looks to me like these people in these positions of authority of the City of Rockford, they get in those positions for doing a lot of dirty things to other people. And I can count several connections with City of Rockford people. In fact, in 2006, I was sued fraudulently by my former real estate partner, who was an agent of Tom Meyer, the former campaign manager of the City of Rockford, or for the mayors of the City of Rockford. Tom Meyer was also the owner of Concord Commons, the biggest crack house in Rockford. You catching the drift? So my real estate partner was an agent of Tom Meyer. And during the 25 years that he was the accountant and fiduciary responsible for the books of my partnership, he stole $500,000 from me with the help of a banker, Richard Bastian, at Bank One at the time. Took my name right off the account, and then took my name off all the records of the account, as if they were going to kill me or something. So this was in 1992, and they took my name off all the records of the partnership. And like I say, the person that did that was Richard Bastian III, who's now at Black Hawk Bank. Somehow they thought they had the authority to violate my rights. And you know what? Since they owned the judge, our real estate partner at the time was Brian Larkin, whose partner was Judge Perello. So I had no recourse if I went to court, because I would have been assigned to Judge Perello, which is what happened in 2002 when my real estate partner, Doug Bruno, sued me and claimed that I was spending money, leaving our partnership without resources to pay our bills. Well, in reality, Mr. Bruno had withheld, which came out in court, he had been withholding $8,000 of partnership money since 1984, when we installed the laundry hookups in the basement. He had never deposited laundry money. And now in 2002, 30 years later, he's suing me, claiming that I'm spending money. Well, his claim was never proved up, but I had to hire attorney Larry Morrissey in order to file a counterclaim. Larry Morrissey, who later became mayor, had my case in court for 3 years before he became mayor, and what he did was he stalled it out, kept continuing it, telling me we're going to be doing an audit of the books, especially the first few years, to show who actually invested what. Morrissey's people never did it. I had to do it, and as it turned out, I was the only investor in our partnership, where I had invested $50,000 to my partner Doug Bruno's zero money. Larry Morrissey then withheld the evidence in court when I was being sued by Bruno, withheld the evidence so that when he then became mayor and turned me over to attorney Ann Dempsey then led me to believe that the discovery was still open and that we had exhibits that could be presented in court. Well, that was a lie. So a month before trial, after being in court for 3 years, Ann Dempsey quits a month before trial because I wouldn't sell the property at auction before trial. I had to get another attorney. The new attorney then had to get up to speed on what was going on. The Judge Janet Holmgren, also an insider, wouldn't let him have any time to get up to speed. And that's when we found out that Morrissey had missed the 213 disclosure deadlines on my exhibits, leaving me no evidence to prove up my case after being in court for 3 years. And we would be in court for another year to wind it down. So in the process, Larry Morrissey cost me $500,000 by withholding the evidence. Then Larry became mayor, And now I'm being harassed by the City of Rockford. And this started under Larry Morrissey's mayoralship. It looked like they were trying to finish me off before Mayor Morrissey was done with his term, which was in April. Because this stuff started 2 years ago. But the most disturbing thing is the fact that I bought this property 4 years ago, and it was distressed. The inside of this place, all the woodwork, I've cleaned up all the paint crap all over everything, and done a lot of work. I've invested about $30,000 into this property in the past 4 years. So when you think you invest money into a property that's already distressed when you bought it, you think you might improve it. Well, I had a real estate person come over here last week, and regardless of the fact that I would live here, this is a great place. It's a beautiful apartment. What I was told was that the most I can get out of this property is $44,000. Now, I signed up on contract to purchase this property as a private deal for $67,000. Then the property was foreclosed on by the bank, and I bought it from the bank for what the bank was owed, which was $47,000. So this property was sold to me by my church friends under the promise that if I bought 6 properties from them, I would be able to buy the property that Morrissey helped steal back in 2006. So I'm sold this property for $67,000. It's actually worth only $44,000 today after I put $30,000 into it. After I rewrote the loan from $67,000 to $47,000. So as you can see, the cocaine trade and the cocaine crack neighborhoods are completely destroying the property values of Rockford. But worse than that, I'm being targeted. This is a complete targeting of me. And I'm being targeted because I helped start a weekly newspaper called the Rock River Times, of which I am still a shareholder. And the things that we uncovered about what's going on in the community here has made me a target. But I was a target long before that. That's why I helped start the paper, was because I was a target and I wanted to do something to defend myself. So I helped Frank Scheer in 1993 start the Rock River Times. So that's why Morrissey wanted to disable me in the lawsuit by withholding the evidence. So fast forward 10 years, I bought the 6 properties from my church friends, who I'm sure they're just out to help me, and buy these 6 properties, and we'll sell the property back to you that Morrissey helped steal in the lawsuit. Well, after I bought the 6 properties, three of them immediately went into foreclosure, not counting this one. Lost those when I had about $20,000 invested there. Then this property went into foreclosure, and the 5th property I bought from them went into foreclosure. So I ended up salvaging 3 of the properties that went into foreclosure, and lost 3 of them. So I lost $20,000 there, and as you can see, I'm getting ready to take a bath here because I owe just about as much to the bank as what it's worth after putting 4 years of work into it and about $30,000 worth of capital. Now, I'd like to mention these people across the street a little bit more, whose brother, I believe, is the former head of the Public Works Department for the City of Rockford. These people, 2.5 years ago, is where this harassment started, by calling the building department and accelerating the ability for me to fix up stuff faster than I can afford to do it. I was already doing it, but they thought they'd kick me in the pants and show me the power that they had. So these people across the street came over here with the tenant downstairs, started calling me a slumlord, said they could smell pot from the people living upstairs who were now moved. So the people that were living up here had an aquarium sitting outside the window underneath their air conditioner where it dripped and rotted the floor. Now that's intentional, okay? Then these people come over and pointed out how the intentional damage that was done by the previous tenant now needs to be fixed right away. And I didn't even notice this until I got up here that day and took the pictures. And this was like the same day that I actually took the pictures. So they go downstairs and they knock from underneath. They knock all the rotting boards underneath there to aggravate what it looks like. And they come over here and they threaten to call the building department for me to tear down the garage next door. Now, the girl that was living downstairs, I believe, is connected to Sheriff Caruana. So we have people connected to the sheriff, I believe. We have people across the alley here who are connected to the City of Rockford. So we have county and city, okay? Who's connected to the cocaine trade in Rockford? Well, geez, I wonder if it's the county and the city, because they keep showing up with their people, don't they? So the former co-worker with Sheriff Caruana, she tells me I need to tear down that garage. That garage needs to come down. You need to tear it down today. I said, loan me $5,000 and I'll do it. I got to do it when I can afford to do it. Well, make a long story short, I told her, well, if you don't like it here, then move. The place was like it is here. You can see that it's a nice place, beautiful place. I had put up new fixtures in her apartment, and it was beautiful when she moved in. She didn't do any damage to it, but she did damage on the outside. She wanted me to tear down that garage, okay, which I did last summer. And her and her boyfriend had cut a tree down. They asked if they could cut a tree down that was out back. They cut the tree down and stacked all the wood on the inside of the garage against the wall to knock the garage down. You see that? Okay? So then Miss Friend of Sheriff Caruana and her buddy over across the street, Miss Hanson, they got a little nervous when I started naming names, and that's when they had a video camera out there videotaping me, and so I, thought I'd accommodate them, and so I was very actively telling the story. And so when I was telling the story, they got a little nervous when I started naming the names of like Caruana and Larry Morrissey and whatnot, former mayor. So I told her, I said, well, if you don't like it here, it's so bad, well then move. Within 3 days, it may have been the next day, she moved, the girl downstairs. Now these people over here are also moving. See, what happens and what I've noticed is that people who do dirty deeds for the local political machine, the Democrat machine, because the City of Rockford confiscates so many properties, you end up doing dirty deeds for the City of Rockford cartel, and you get a free house. It's like being on Oprah. You get a free house. So these people here, I assume, are getting a free house, and so they're going to sell this place. And same thing with the girl that was living downstairs, the tenant that moved out. She moved out within 3 days, which tells me you already had a house. This was a place over here that she was, commissioned to come over and harass me about. So she moved out 3 days later, and when she moved out, my ladder was stolen within those 3 days. Broken windows. I had 3 broken windows. I don't know if you can even see it. You can see it. Broken windows. I had 3 broken windows. Okay. And then the people across the alley here, right here, these sweet folks over here connected to former Public Works Director Tim Hansen, now at the Rockford, or the Rock River Water Reclamation District. They dropped off these severed mannequin heads, which I assume would be in line with the mob affiliations of these characters that are harassing me, because the cocaine cartels do have mob affiliations. So they put these in my garage to kind of intimidate me, I guess. So then a couple days after that, the neighborhood watch guy, Toby, comes by and he says, oh, geez, hey, let me get those mannequin heads. I'm like, how'd you know about the mannequin heads? Oh, well, I dropped those off to the neighbors over here, and they must have thought that you did it. Well, all of a sudden, I'm just meeting this guy, and he knows all the history about me, and he knows that these people have been harassing me, and they get the impression when he drops off mannequin heads over at their house that I did it. So he says they then drop the mannequin heads off into my garage. Okay? You following this crap? So I'm all involved with these goofballs over here just to be harassed. And now they're moving because they've done their deed and they pretty much did what they were supposed to do. I'm hoping they fail in the ultimate outcome. But this is again the price you pay for standing up to the cocaine cartels, which are run by the Democratic political machine in Rockford and in Illinois. So how I got tapped out at 17 years old to be lured into this group is a mystery, except for the fact that we were all profiled in school, and I believe that I must have been profiled, and they said, we got to go after that one because he's one that'll actually stand up. So for 40 years, I've been a target of this illicit Democratic political machine, which in all honesty has church people connected to it. That's the really upsetting part, is I always thought that the church people would go to bat for me. And I'm finding out that the church people will go to bat for the political cartel before me. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope I've said something coherent. All right.